Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show 43. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, how has the week been treating you thus far?
Good, good. We're, I think, back on schedule. We were jimmy jacking things back and forth. That we had two news shows in a row, and now we'll get back to Monday news show, so forth.
Well, I
Although
mean,
today's Tuesday, so
yeah, right. It was kind of Monday, kind of not. I'm thinking about changing it to the yesterday show because it's always about what we played yesterday, right?
yeah, that's true actually. And if it's called the yesterday show, then it doesn't matter what day it's on. That's a good idea. I like that.
Well, actually, it doesn't matter anyway because it's my channel, damn it.
Yeah,
And we can have the Monday show on Friday if we want to.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, we'll think about it. Right.
Oh, chat filling out nicely already. We've got Recycled in the house, Void Cat, Spry Guy, Mepper, Roy Schwartz, Gamer Chick, Scion, Slayblaze. Thanks for showing up, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's 2 days in a row. Mepper, yes, last time he slid in thinking he was an hour late, or he said he saw the announcement and we were late, and so he came in right when it started. And then this time we were a couple minutes delayed, and he finished his dinner, and now he's good to go. So I think we're good.
A viewer after my own heart, Roots. We are the VR procrastinator channel. So like, if you're a little bit late, if you like to put stuff off, hey, it don't really matter. We're going to do the same thing anyway. We'll all just kind of agree to meet around the same times each week, and we'll figure it out when we get here, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of that one show Anthony did where he was running late and somebody commented, and we'll leave it at that. Very interesting little tidbit there. But hopefully we never get to that point, because if we get to that point, something's going on.
Yes.
But
Slaveway says the aliens have fled from your background. They've fled from your background and straight into my VR headset.
they did. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Look at them. You got a couple planets on there. I still see an alien background in the atmosphere. So that was a pretty cool show. It's pretty fun talking to Skiva and Anthony about UFOs and aliens. It's different. So yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to. I mean, these are the type of things that people love to talk about, but nobody ever really does because you don't really know who's going to think you're a lunatic and who's going to be on board. But generally, the way it goes with me, the more I speak my mind about this or anything else, the more like-minded I find out that we all really are.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding too, with all the weirdness going on, over the last couple months. I just try to be as vocal as I can and get into conversations with people, and then I find out that more people will think like I do, and I'm deliberately not saying what I'm talking about for a reason, because we're not going to get shut down again over something stupid. But yeah, it's just a crazy world.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of Nostradamus Jr., remember when we had him on our show and we were talking about the at that time the newly revealed mystery Oculus headset, and he was speculating that it was the next version of the Oculus Go. Yeah, not so much. Did you catch the news today?
I did actually, and I was I wasn't shocked. I mean, we've known the Go was going bye-bye for a long time. As a matter of fact, we even joked about how many people opened their Christmas gift and got the Go because their parents didn't know the difference between the Go and the Quest, and they were all excited. And then they found out, oh man, this kind of sucks. As a matter of fact, my nephew, I believe, he got a Go. He came over here for Father's Day and played some VR with my daughters. And I don't even know if I've ever seen him use that Go in his life. If that tells you anything. So, and he's big into VR.
I've been waiting on them to get down to like $100 or less, because I do think that there are use cases for them. That it is a fairly remarkable device when you consider what it is and when it came out. So yeah, maybe I'll actually get my shot at one now, super cheap.
Yeah, or do you think they'll go expensive because they're rare to get? I don't know, probably not. But
no way, man, no way. And I'll tell you what else, man. I'm just, I expected this, but I am relieved to finally have confirmation of it. Because now we know that whatever it is that Oculus is working on next is going to be a gaming device. And I wouldn't be surprised and I might get lynched for saying this, but I wouldn't be surprised if they said the same thing about the Rift line as well. And they just go with one headset to rule them all from here on out, a standalone slash PC headset uh, that does everything. Really makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
I don't even think people would care as long as the specs are there. You know, give me one headset to rule them all, as long as it's better than this version, which we know a new version's coming out. I just want more comfort. I want more space for storage, and I think, you know, obviously the upgrades on the visuals, but they pretty much nailed the Quest, I believe, in general. I mean, it's just done so well. So we're in exciting times for sure.
Yeah, Oculus making moves, brother, because not only that, they announced plans pretty much to do away with the need for side loading. They're not changing their policy to let people developers have access to the official Quest store easier. They're not doing that, but they're giving these vague hints that they're going to be providing other avenues for those developers that got left out by their curation policy. And I think it's an awesome thing. I think it's good for everybody, with the exception of the guys that run SideQuest. Maybe not the best thing for those guys.
Yeah, I agree. Scion he always goes back whenever the Quest is brought up every time. And maybe you're like this as well. If anybody else is, let us know. It's all about that latency in the cable. Now, do you notice a latency difference or a problem? I mean, because he seems to talk about it. And if he's talking about it, then it must be a thing if people are out there, right?
Yeah, it's not so much a latency thing as a bandwidth thing. The latency I don't notice. Now, with that said, I don't exactly play Beat Saber every day either. You know, I'm generally playing a slow-paced single-player game. So yeah, I don't notice any latency whatsoever with the link connection. Now there is latency, at least the last time I tried virtual desktop wireless, there was some latency there, but the tethered connection, no latency. There is a slight, and I emphasize slight, degradation in video quality, but a lot of that can be worked around through, you know, adjusting the render resolution and super sampling.
What about from a CV1 perspective? Do you think it's definitely above the CV1? You know, it's a little bit lower than the Rift S, but still phenomenal. Because I know, you know, that's one of the things. That's why I'm kind of glad I did what I did with the Rift S and the CV1, because I'm realizing how much of an upgrade the Rift S is, even though it's CV1 still an amazing headset. You know, I notice the clarity every time I get in there. I'm like, oh, I remember the Rift S, and I'm all nostalgic for it. But yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, and one thing a lot of people forget about is the fact that the newer headsets, both the Quest and the Rift S, have different lenses in them. And that was probably the biggest thing for me. I know it affects different people in different ways, but the glare, the God rays were really the thing that bothered me the most about CV1.
Screen door too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's still a little bit of screen door on Quest. That's definitely the biggest advantage of the Rift S over the Quest, is it's a sharper picture. But in my opinion, only by a little bit. And the difference that you get in the colors and the blacks in the Oculus Quest, it more than makes up for that, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about the mod, obviously, that we worked on, and then the different demos we tried. But I was going to bring up a mod. I didn't bring up any clips, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but have you ever heard of the Helix Vision mod by chance? Or no, I guess it's a game or something. I don't know. It's an actual program.
That term sounds familiar to me, but I would be lying if I sit here and could say I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I stumbled onto it yesterday, and it's kind of like big screen, but with 3D, and it's got a list of games you can do, and you can do other games as well. But the only one I was able to get to work really well was FX3, and that's
Oh,
almost,
you
yeah, it's almost worth getting, like, because you can't move. It's not like, in VR where you're moving around, but it's on a screen, but it's in 3D, and it looked phenomenal. But I guess there's issues with the 3D stereoscopic. I guess they took that out of the NVIDIA drivers a while ago, so you got to roll back drivers. And my particular video card doesn't work very well with it, I guess. But I'm just interested. I know other people have tried it. I saw Fast Lawyer YouTube. I saw some current recent ones, but it's really good. It's head and shoulders better 3D wise in what I've seen when you do the same thing in VorpX. Because what got me going is I did the Sea of Thieves thing on VorpX, found out that I'm better off going virtual desktop with a big screen, because I don't know how bad the performance had to have been on Paradise Decay's video, but I can't imagine it been that good because I'm using a 2080 and it just wasn't viable. But anyway, I just was curious about that. I just a whole different rabbit hole of a mod that I didn't even know existed. So
Yeah, man. And while we're on the topic, I want to go ahead and shout out Paradise Decay. He had a video a few days back where he was giving away 5 keys for VorpX, and I watched the video, and I started to enter the contest, and then I decided against it because we get so many keys and stuff with our channel here that I felt kind of bad entering a giveaway. So I watched the video, and I just went on about my business. Well, a couple of days later, PD does another VorpX video for Sea of Thieves, actually. And I'm chatting and I make the comment, hey, I need VorpX. I think I need to get it. And he talks me in to entering his giveaway. He said, you should go enter the giveaway. Everybody has an equal shot. And so I went over there and I left a comment. That's all you had to do was leave a comment and like the video. So I left a comment, and sure enough, the next day I woke up and PD's leaving me a message on Discord saying, "Congratulations, you won." So now our possibilities for the Monday show when it comes to mods has just been blown through the roof, thanks to the people at VorpX and thanks to our good friend Paradise Decay.
yeah, that's awesome. I saw that, and that's what kind of got me interested. And I actually, to do the Sea of Thieves mod with VorpX, you had, at least from what I can see, I couldn't do it without buying it on Steam. Like, it had to be through Steam. The Xbox app is blocking it, and I had all sorts of issues with it hooking the game. As soon as I bought it on Steam, immediately was able to hook it. But so it is something that, at least from what I can see, you're gonna have to do on Steam. And maybe if you have a really beefy computer, or maybe there's ways to tweak it. But I used the Material Wood, or whatever one he recommended in the video, and the performance just wasn't there, even in cinematic view or in with a window where you're, instead of being full 3 VR. So I don't know, man. I'm still up in the air on VorpX because the performance issues that it caused for that game anyway was just so much that it was like, well, there's no way I could do this. So
Well, I'll just say, check out the YouTube channel Stereo 3D Productions. I've looked a lot into VorpX, and that channel by far is the most informative channel when it comes to VorpX tutorials that I've ever seen. It's very detailed, and it'll explain to you just how everything works.
well, my plan is, now that you're in it for the show, you'll figure it out, and then you'll like, hey, Roots, this is how you tweak it, and then we'll figure it out together. Meaning you'll figure it out, and then I'll tweak it.
Hey, I hope you're ready to play some Resident Evil 7, because that's the first thing I'm going for, brother.
I tried that on that other program, because that, I guess you can get it, and people say it looks phenomenal. And I was kind of bummed that I couldn't get it to work. So I want to try that on VorpX, because I actually, if I don't get that, I tried it and it's going to be just as good, Wes. I actually pulled it up in virtual desktop. Virtual desktop is amazing, the way you can bring that screen in, get it close enough. You can really make it feel like lacking the 3D, obviously, but then you get the performance because it's not doing all that extra 3D BS. So
Ray Delator says he has an everybody's golf VR code for us to give away.
Oh,
Thanks, Ray.
nice.
That's really cool. We're actually starting to collect keys because the 2020 show is it's approaching quickly, and if we're going to match what we did last year, we're going to have to start planning pretty soon here. So yeah, just hit us up off air here. Well, I guess maybe on Discord or something, uh, and we'll gladly accept. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and to answer Scion, my video is not freezing up on me, but and I'm not seeing not one dropped frame. That's what I love about this OBS, man. You can see, I mean, it's running smooth. We so far, knock on wood, Wes, which I don't believe in that BS. Everything's been perfect as far as these last weeks, a couple weeks of live streams, as far as the signal being so strong, which is awesome.
Yeah, we've had a good signal now. Upon watching some of these playbacks, it seems like our audio goes out of sync from time to time. But this is a problem that we expected. We kind of knew what we were going to have issues with when we decided to go live, and it's never been completely terrible. Just a little off.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, and that was a long intro, man. We didn't even talk too much about anything we were going to talk about.
Well, I guess we probably should get around to that, huh?
Yeah.
So we, as we all know, the Steam Summer Festival has been taking place lately, and I guess it's over with now. But for the better part of the last week and a half, the Steam Summer Game Festival has been going on, and with it came a ton of awesome VR games with behind the scenes footage and playable demos. Some of the demos I downloaded, some of the demos I didn't. Same thing for my friend Roots over here. But we never really got around to playing them until recently, or at least I did. So that's what we're going to talk about first today. We're going to talk about some of these Steam demos that we downloaded. And Roots, I downloaded all of them and installed them immediately. But when I went in to try to play them this morning, they didn't all work for me. The Paper Beast is still working. The Hospitality VR is still working. But the Blunt Force and the what was the other one? Now the Lost Eye. Yeah, neither one of those would work for me. But you did get a chance to play those two, did you not?
Yeah, I did actually, and it's funny you say that because I don't know, man. I had like high expectations for this first one, Blunt Force, just because it's World War II. Sion's been stoking me up for World War II lately, and this I can't say enough about the way they locked everything in the settings. Like I mean, I get it. Like they want it to run as best as it can, and they don't want all the weirdness, people getting sick or whatever. But the movement is so slow, and it's teleport, and it's very painful to move around, and it really drove me crazy. And I wanted to change it to, I think, snap turn, or I wanted just to walk. I just wanted to normally walk. You can't. All the settings are locked, so that was kind of a bummer. But I guess it's a demo, right? But other than that, it was okay. I mean, somebody was saying that they had seen a video of it and it didn't blow them away. And that's kind of how I felt about it. I felt like it's got a lot of potential just because of the genre it is. And that guy should get pissed, at least if you're throwing something at him. But it just, for me, it just felt very, man, I guess that's a demo. Like, it is what it is. There's a part coming up here where you're supposed to be hiding from a tank. I deliberately didn't hide and just stood up, and nothing happened to me. I was a little bummed about that. But overall, it was a decent thing. It was something that I'd like to see them tweak it a little bit more and be able to move better. And yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing about it is, stuff like that, locomotion, style, and speed, things like that are easy fixes. Generally, if the game doesn't ship with enough options, it comes in the first patch, right? What kind of game was this? I mean, what were you set to do in this demo?
Well, you're obviously it's World War II, and It's like starts out in this cafe, right? And so you're looking around, and like all of a sudden stuff starts happening, starts some explosion happens, and you're seeing all this shattering coming in, and your guy's like, oh no, I don't know if this is real or not. Like you can tell it's like obviously has PTSD. And then it goes into the same cafe in the war. So it's clearly supposed to be like a World War II. It's supposed to bring you into that genre, bring you, or that time period, give you a sense of what it was like, I guess. But the movement for me was so painstakingly slow to move around. Not what I would imagine this type of a game would be. But I mean, it's story based. It was intriguing. I wanted to see more about what was going on. So
Do you think that these developers, we know that this game has been in development for a long time. Do you feel like that these guys are in a race against the Medal of Honor game? After it comes out, it's kind of going to fill that void, and nobody's going to be all that excited for Blunt Force anymore?
probably. I mean, I haven't seen that much from Medal of Honor, but what we've seen, it's just a polish on a different level. And it's if Medal of Honor comes out first, I would think this thing just dies. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It just depends on how much more they have of this and what they can tweak, and of course what Medal of Honor is going to be like. But my thought is Medal of Honor is going to come out and it's just going to be friggin' amazing, one of a kind of that type, and then absolutely this one will be like gone. You know.
Graphically speaking and sound wise, it looks like the production values are pretty high here. How did it look in the headset?
Yeah, it looked good. It looked, it didn't blow me away, but it definitely looked good. Sounded good. I mean, made you feel like you're there, but again, I don't know. I just wanted more out of it. So I'm bad with demos though. I'm like you. I had all these demos downloaded and I waited till the last minute because there's part of me that doesn't want to play a demo. I want to play the game. I don't want to play a partially made demo, because then I come out feeling negative in ways that I don't like to feel, Wes. I don't like to be negative.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just depends, man. Now, I've played some good ones and I've played some bad ones. Now, this is something that PlayStation VR does very well. Whenever they put out a demo, they generally give you like a whole level or a nice chunk of game to play through. Whereas, or Rinlo's another good example. I thought the Rinlo demo was pretty good, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But what about this other one? This Now the Lost Eye, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I would have no idea if I weren't. But what about that one? That's another very beautiful looking game from a production standpoint. How did it live up to to your expectations?
Yeah, it looked cool. I mean, it definitely had that cool looking vibe. The graphics were cool. My thing is, I don't know what this game is. It was definitely more of a mystery for me than it was revealing, but it was cool. I mean, I'd be interested to see a little bit more. It looked like in this beginning scene, I kind of felt like these guys like came out of a demonic realm and sucked the soul out of this being and then just left. I said, "Laters, dude." So it was different, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the demo, but like I said, I don't know exactly what type of game this is going to be, but it was pretty cool, especially from an artistic standpoint.
Yeah, I think that that's a recurring theme that we're going to come back to when we talk about another one of these demos. But yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks, and I'm really digging some of these new art styles that that these VR game developers are coming up with to take low texture graphics, but still use lighting, use contrast, use particle effects and bloom to make a really beautiful world. We're seeing more and more of this in games now honestly, because of the Oculus Quest and people's desire to publish their games on that platform. People are getting better at it, and I feel like this is a good example of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I always like when I can feel like a literal cartoon or a comic book came out of the it came to life and you just went in it and you're experiencing it. So
So did you do anything in this? Would you call it a playable demo or was it more cinematic?
it was more cinematic. You did do some stuff, but like you actually had these orbs you had to position and do different things. So it was actual playing stuff. But I didn't get too far into it. I can't remember. I ran into something that stopped me, but I can't remember now.
I see. Yeah, this is one of the bigger disappointments with me not being able to play my demos, and maybe it's just Steam being a butthole, but I tried for an hour to get these things to boot every which way I could, online, offline, uh, and at first it wouldn't even let me do like the other ones that I ended up getting them to work. But at first it wouldn't let me do any of them, and eventually
Hmm.
I got those other two to work. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of thing with Steam. Steam did go down for a little while today, so
Yeah.
uh,
I'll have to check. I don't even know what the dates. I thought we had a few more days to play these. I could have sworn, but maybe it is over.
I don't
Oh,
see what the point in a time demo is anyway. If you're gonna have a demo and it's a good demo, I mean, why wouldn't you want to put it out there and get people to want to play your game?
yeah, I agree. I mean, except for the festival or whatever, the Cannes festival or whatever what was this a part of? I can't remember now.
The
Uh,
Steam Summer Game
okay.
Festival.
Yeah. As long as it's a part of a festival, I mean, and that's timed, I can see it. It's like you want to put a beginning and an
Yeah.
ending finale thing on it. But I agree. If it's a good enough demo, you'd want to keep it out there so people could try it. Right.
Now,
So,
who's to say it won't come back to? Um, but you're right. We've talked about this before that these conventions, these E3s and Gamescoms, as they move to online or OC 6 or 7 or whatever the next one's going to be, uh, as those conferences move online, uh, this is a good way for them to make up for the fact that people aren't going to be on the show floor demoing these titles. They could just have time demos via Steam, via the Oculus Store. So I get it. So it does make sense in that way that they wanted to just keep it for the festival.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it works. Whatever they want to do, I guess. I'll just go along. The biggest thing I took away from the demos that I did try is this is why I would have never gone to a film festival or whatever that has these booths for these demos of these artistic things. Because if I waited in a line for what I played for like 45 minutes to an hour, I would be upset. I'd be like, no, man, I just want to do it in my house, jump in, check it out, jump out, and say, okay, that was what it was. But I'm just not one of those people that's gonna go to one of these things. I don't think.
I'm all over it. If I ever have the opportunity, which I guess it is kind of a different world now, but uh, I still hopefully they move to virtual platform in a meaningful way. Hopefully the technology will continue to increase in quality level the way it has for the last few years, and basically what it depends on is are people going to keep buying headsets? If people keep buying the headsets, and we get to the point where like half the people or close to half of the people have headsets now, I think that it's going to become a viable platform for things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, I may not have been able to try those two, but I was able to try out Hospitality VR, and this is one that you've seen a lot on YouTube. I mean, PD did a video, Gamertag did a video. I think Paolo even did a video of it. And so, I downloaded it and installed it last week because I thought it looked pretty cool. But I really hadn't given it much thought. But the way I keep seeing people bring it up and it's coming up time and time again, this was really had become one of the biggest ones that I was, anticipating trying out, and it was pretty cool. It wasn't very long though.
Was it scary? Is that your thing? You're always looking for, so you come out of
Uh,
something and you're like, it's not scaring me.
well, the problem with it is that I would not refer to this as a playable demo. It was more of a, it was more cinematic.
Hmm.
There were no controls. Now the funny thing is, you go into it and you've got your touch controllers in your hands, And as soon as you start the game, it tells you, hey, uh, the game doesn't support your controllers. You need to use a mouse and keyboard. So I go and I grab my mouse and keyboard, and I have to start the game with my controllers. Uh, so after we get into the game, there's nothing. Oh, actually, no, you don't start the game with your. Oh, you do. You're right. It's gaze based, but you have to hit a button on your controller to start it. But after you get into the thing, you're just sitting in a wheelchair, and you're going down an elevator. The elevator stops. You roll out a few feet, and from that point on, you don't move anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, it just makes me think of Alex's wheelchair joke. But yeah, no, oh, that was good times.
But I would say that is it scary? It depends on who you're talking to. I mean, to me, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a creepy environment. Did it change my pulse at all? No. But I mean, I'm kind of hardened to this stuff. You know that. So I feel like if you're someone who's sensitive to this kind of thing, that yeah, it could probably scare somebody. The graphics were really good in it.
How about the sound? Was it like totally? Because that's the biggest thing for horror games, right? Is that like really good sounds and creepy creaks and that type of stuff.
The sound was okay. Like the 3D directional aspect of it was great. Like the directional audio was good. Um, the sound effects themselves were okay. I would call them good, not great. Like at one point a door starts slamming itself, right? And you can't help but notice that it sounds exactly the same every time it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Where if it were in real life, it would sound slightly different each time.
yeah.
But it's things like that. Not a bad sounding effect. It did sound like a door slamming, but was no like variety to it. You know, there wasn't that sense of spontaneity that comes with a high quality VR game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so is this is story driven, right? So I guess obviously somebody's in a wheelchair and they're in this hospital. I remember hearing some a little bit about it, but so I guess this will just be a complete horror experience versus a game, like
Yeah,
puzzle game or.
yeah, it seemed like a, a poltergeist type experience where you're going to be trying to escape the hospital with your life, uh, and it's haunted. You know, there's this malevolent spirit that's constantly throwing things around and breaking stuff all around you. It looks very much like it's going to be an atmosphere driven jump scare game. But with that said, the atmosphere was pretty thick. It can certainly work. I got heavy vibes from what's the name of that game on PlayStation VR? From the makers of Until Dawn. Uh, of course, I can't remember it now that I'm thinking about it. I gotta look it up. Um, I'm getting in this bad habit roots of
Forgetting stuff.
forgetting stuff when I'm on air. Um, it's not all the time. Like I could spout stuff off if it were just me and you, but since I'm on camera here, I can't remember it. So I'm gonna look it up. It's a
Impatient.
game. The Impatient. Thank
That's
you,
what Hussein
someone.
said. See you later, Sion.
Who said yes, yes. This very much gave me vibes of The Impatient, but imagine The Impatient where you never get to move because it's a demo and you're just sitting there while stuff's going on around you.
I want to move. I don't like not moving. It's not fun.
Everybody's telling Scion bye, so I guess he has to go somewhere later,
Yeah,
man.
he said he has to run. Oh,
Okay. But yeah, I feel like if you guys played this demo and it really appealed to you and you were really scared in it, I highly suggest that you play the Impatient. Impatient got a bad rap because it was released at a very high price. It was overpriced, and on top of that, people really wanted an Until Dawn game, and it wasn't that. So it got a lot of bad reviews at first. But I can tell you from experience, I played through it twice. It's a good game.
Yeah, well, VR Spry Guy says he forgets his own name sometimes, so don't feel bad.
It's just
Yeah.
something's been happening lately. Like I don't know what it is. Sometimes when I try to quote these games on air here lately, it seems like I just can't find the word anymore.
Yeah, it's the curse of being on live.
But anyway, Hospitality VR, it was worth my time. I enjoyed it. It's still available if you like this sort of thing and you've got 5 minutes to kill, you want to check it out. I think you should.
Yeah, it makes me wonder why some are available and some aren't. They have to all be available, and you were just having issues for some reason. I don't know, but so I guess let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
No, I would say that that most likely this Hospitality and Paper Beast, they were probably going to have demos anyway, and it wasn't really so much to do with that festival, if I had to guess.
I gotcha. Well, speaking of Paper Beast, that is the one that we both tried, right?
Paper Beast, yeah, absolutely. I gave that one a look just before we come on.
All right. So, what do you think about Paper Beast? I thought it was pretty cool. This beginning part, like ripping those sheets down and watching them blow off in the wind and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, what is going on? Why am I, like what, and then I realized I started yanking stuff down, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. As expected, a very unique art style. It was a lot more colorful than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, I felt like the tone was going to be a bit more muted, but I was pleasantly surprised at the color palette that they had going on here.
You know what I was pleasantly surprised about was how much I could whip those little guys around. I was whipping them around. Like first I started feeding them the paper, and then they grew, and then I started whipping them around. Then I started like griefing them and throwing them way far away, and then letting them make their way back, and then throwing them again, and then I felt bad for them. And but no, it was pretty cool. It was very unique. I still don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing in this game. I mean, I'm assuming we only got a small taste of on the demo, because I got to that pool and I found those two young ones, and I grew them up a little bit, and then there was not much more I could do after that except for throw them around. I don't know. Did you?
So did you make it to the end of the demo? Did like it stop?
No,
And,
I don't know. Maybe
okay.
Is there an end?
Yeah, I'm not very far after where that little pool, but there's a little bit more after that
Okay.
That you can do, and I'll tell you afterwards if you want to know how to do it, how to get it to end. But I don't want to spoil it for people out there who might want to go out there and try it. It was pretty cool. The ending of it was actually the coolest part to me. I didn't sit and screw around with them quite as much as you did. I threw them a couple of times. I tried to manipulate them by like teasing them with food and stuff. Did you find any of like the mean creatures?
Mean, is that one mean? I found
No, the
that
ones
big guy, and I found the two small guys. That's all I found.
there are creatures that are made completely out of colored paper, and they attack the other animals.
Oh, that's not nice.
And you can't move them. You can't pick them up and throw them like you can the white creatures.
So you can like throw the good ones away to keep them away from that guy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was my thing as I was playing. I was like, what in the world is this? What am I supposed to be doing? That's the thing. I'm confused on what this game is. I didn't get to make water. I guess that's like more in the the sandbox mode or something. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I echo your sentiment here. I feel like that this game could be interesting, engaging, beautiful. Obviously, the sound and look of it, beautiful. But I feel like if this is a 20-hour game or a 15-hour game, it's going to be 15 to 20 hours of me sitting there going, okay, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah, because so far I don't know. I mean, it was fun feeding them, and I found that like this one was really greedy, Wes, and he kept trying to steal it from the other one, and I was trying to be fair and spread it out, and it wasn't working. That guy just like jumped in and grabbed it, so they get very aggressive for that paper.
Yeah, they got to get it, man. Got to get that paper.
Yeah, see, and then that big guy won't take it. He doesn't want the paper, man. It's
Yeah, I think that you're basically supposed to just travel across this landscape, kind of like some sort of an exodus. Uh, you're going to find obstacles along the way, dead ends that you come to, and the way that you're going to make your way through is by manipulating these animals and getting them to manipulate the environment for you. I think that's kind of the concept here, because that's pretty much how I was able to make my way through the demo and find the end of it was by messing around with these guys and and basically getting them to alter the landscape in ways that you didn't expect.
Oh, okay. Well, Phil Yarn says he was watching Impact Wrestling on Twitch, and it's the best. I never heard of Impact Wrestling. I might have to check it out. But
Impact Wrestling used to go by TNA Wrestling. Maybe you've heard of that. It's been
oh,
around for a good long while now. I quit watching it a few years back because they lost most of their talent, and every time I dip in, they do something stupid. Like last time I watched it, the world heavyweight champion was a women's wrestler, and I know it's not real, but you're supposed to be able to suspend disbelief, and when you've got this 170 pound girl beating up 300 pound dudes, I can't get into that, man.
yeah, maybe she's got superpowers. There's the colored bastards right there, Wes, and they are attacking that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I never got to that. That's creepy, man. I'm kind of glad I didn't. I had a nice peaceful world. I didn't have any colored creatures attacking anything. Scary.
So like, yeah, right. Phil Yarn says, "Yep, Tessa." Yeah, and I've got a lot of respect for her as a performer. I think she's a really good wrestler, Phil, and I love her dad, obviously. But whoever's booking Impact Wrestling, I got a question.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I've never heard of Impact Wrestling, never watched it, but now you open my eyes, Phil Yarn. I'm gonna check it out.
But yeah, so with this demo, it seems, Roots, like you played the peaceful half and you missed out on the chaos, because pretty much everything from that point forward was chaotic.
No, there's no chaos in my world, man. It's nice and peaceful. Everybody's happy. You're hand feeding paper to these beasts, and yeah, no, I'm kind of. I want to see the whole game. I want to see what it's all about. Is this one of those ones that said it's come to infinity, or what do we know?
If you search for it under an Infinity search, like if you go into Viveport and you filter out Infinity games only, it's listed.
Okay.
So I take that to mean that, yes, it is going to be an Infinity title.
Okay, well then I'll definitely be checking it out. 'Cause I don't know that I would buy this right off the bat, but I would at least check it out long enough to maybe buy it if I like it on Infinity. I mean, I want to support the devs, so or maybe they'll just give us a key and then we'll check it out. That'd be cool.
They distributed keys through a PR agency, and that was right after we had dealt with another one of them, and it wasn't the best experience. So I chose not to request. But I've got the contact info for those guys if that's something that we decide we want to do. But to be honest, I'd rather just catch it on Viveport and not have any obligation.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to wear any suit or whatever. I still don't know the full thing for pistol whip, but I'm pretty sure they had to wear a suit to get the key early. Because
oh, speaking of which, and I hate to do this, so I won't name any names. Okay, but a fairly small title from Oculus Go coming into Oculus Quest. I recently requested a key so that we could review it. I was told no because we didn't have 10,000 subs yet.
Oh wow.
10,000 subs, man! Can you?
That's crazy.
We'll be able to cover this port by the time Oculus Quest 3 comes out.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, then Gamertag can't even get that game, and his channel is very successful, right? Isn't he just under 10?
I think GT's over 10. I think PD might be just under. Maybe I've got that backwards.
Either way, they're both very good, successful channels that should get keys. It's weird, man. And then you have other people. Funny. You have other people buying subs, and then they get keys up the wazoo. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I could probably buy 10,000 subs for cheaper than it would cost to buy that game, but that's a different episode.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, no, I just thought it was funny. That's the first time I've ever had one tell me that. Like either it's normally it's like yes or no. It's not like, well, you got to have 10,000 subs, and when you get there, well,
Yeah. Well, I guess they kind of have to maybe be appreciative. At least that, they're letting us know, dude, you're not even close.
yeah, right. Right. Well, yeah, I guess they could have, there's been a two or three of them that have just not responded, which is always rude. Um, so yeah, that I gotta hand that to them. They did respond. I even think they subbed to our channel here. So
Oh,
what's
cool.
up, guys? You know who you are. I'm not putting you on blast or anything. If I wanted to do that, I would tell everybody what game it was.
Yeah, and
But
besides the fact, no, we're not owed anything. Nobody
uh,
owes us any games. So
Speaking of cool devs, how about those VR bros? The guys from A Wake In joining the Discord. I mean, they sent me some gameplay yesterday, Roots. That game is looking pretty awesome.
yeah, dude, I that's one of the things I love the best about the show is the developers, getting to know them, finding out that there are so many really cool developers, and just the appreciative ones, right? They're just like I don't know, man. That's just the way the world works. People appreciate each other, and I just think it's cool.
Yeah, the Lethal Weasel won a VorpX coffee, says Phil Yarn. You got that the audio type going on, Phil?
He must be.
VorpX coffee sounds delicious, right? It's like
Yeah, I got a VorpX coffee right here.
yeah, it's not cappuccino, but it kind of tastes like cappuccino, right?
Yeah, my ex said she's going to give me a frother, Wes. You know what a frother is?
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, no, I could sound sexual, but no, it's like whatever they use to froth up the thing, like at the baristas. And she said she bought one. She keeps sending, like, one broke, and they keep sending her extras. So I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna froth my
yeah,
coffee up.
for sure. I need my coffee to be all fruit up like that too. I can't just drink it black. I've got to have at least as much or more cream and sugar in it.
Well, this is black, but this is on air. I don't have the luxury of cream and sugar right now.
All right. All right. Anyway, let's get back to these demos. After I couldn't play those other two, I decided to go back into Rinlo. People in the chat here saying that the Rinlo's gone from their library, but of course we had the review copy. So our demo today was updated to become the full early access version. It did go into full early access today. So those of you interested in checking it out, it has released. And pleasantly surprised, Roots, because I didn't intend on going back in and finishing it, which I didn't. I didn't even come close. My idea was I would go back in and maybe play a level of it, but much to my surprise, um, the game kind of backs you up a little bit. If you're continuing from a demo save, it backs you up a little bit instead of starting you right where you left off. And the reason why is that demo what didn't give you the whole first two levels. There was a big section that they cut out from between the time that you get that letter and the time that you get on that airship. There's a whole level that you have to make your way through, and I didn't expect that. I thought it was pretty cool that it took me another 20 or 30 minutes worth of gameplay there that had just been cut out of the demo.
Yeah, dude, it confused me big time because I started the game, played through it, restarted it originally just to play it a little bit more, and I couldn't remember, did I finish it or did I start? So I just assumed I didn't finish it. So I'm playing through this and I'm like, I don't remember this. Like, I started thinking maybe like, what is going on? Did I just forget stuff? Or but I was like you, and then I realized, whoa, they added stuff because I that alleyway in that where that water is didn't exist, or I don't think it existed, and that's where you went down to get to the ship. And it was really cool. And that guy was still a jerk. He still was ready to leave without us, without turning the lighthouse on. um but I was like you, I didn't anticipate going in that long, but I ended up spending not only the time to get caught up, but then I played through the next little part and I wanted to finish it, but I couldn't because we were about to start the show. And I had almost ran out of time, lost track. But no, I thought the puzzles got better. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. The puzzles continue to be varied. I don't think that they've doubled up on a puzzle yet, have they? Like a puzzle type, they've all been different, right?
No, every single one is different and unique. And one of the things that I have hopes for too, Wes, and I just was thinking about this. How many locked doors have you came across? Like, there's a lot of locked doors that I'm assuming we're gonna have to go back to. So it may have us backtracking and going back through. I want to know where my dad is. Like he's just mysteriously sending this guy to find me. I haven't even seen him for 15 years, Wes, or however long he said it had been. So yeah, the story's intriguing. I think this is going to be a really cool game, especially when it's all said and done.
This could just be some predator. I mean, how does she know it's her dad? Like any dude could be like, you know what? I'm your dad. I'm going to send this strange guy up to pick you up in a boat. Meet me at the Blue Hotel. Here's your key.
Yeah, oh, it's the Blue Tower. But yeah, well, if that was the case, then she probably would have boarded the boat, and then the next thing she would have known is she woke up and she was in shackles or something. And that's a completely different game, and I don't want it. I don't want any part of that game, by the way.
So what do you think of that next level? I went into it hoping that since we were getting past the demo, things would open up a little bit in terms of scope, and I was not disappointed. I thought that the next set piece in that very next level was just gigantic and beautiful.
Yeah, especially going down the tower and or those stairs was cool, and then assuming you're talking about the clock and just everything was really cool, man. It was very, very huge, intriguing, and it just looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm talking about after the boat. Did you play the next level after the boat?
The boat, I did. I went a little bit further. I didn't go too much further in, but I did just enough to see. And like I said, I wanted to keep going, and I just couldn't.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. There's this big waterfall, and like the game just really kind of opens up as far as not only like the non-playable area, but the playable area as well. It's all very big. Now, with that said, there is a lot of climbing stairs and ladders and stuff in this game, and it's not so bad the first time through. But if like you fail at something and you get killed, it does get old quickly having to redo all that stuff.
Yeah, or like if you throw your bomb the wrong way to distract the guards, and then you get caught over and over again. That's what happened to me. Tried to get on the airship. It's like, what the hell, man? They extended that too. I was like, that's what really blew me away, because I was like, I don't remember. It's like, oh, this is new. And then I got to somewhere else that I'd been to, and I'm like, what is happening? So yeah, they did a good job on confusing routes, big time. But
It kind of makes me feel like maybe I should start the whole thing over, because who knows what else that got cut out of the demo version that we're missing out on here.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Now, did you get to anything else you could craft besides the distraction bombs? Or do you think
Not yet, and I think that that's a good sign, because I feel like what that means is that we're still very early on in the game, because that's really my only concern with this now is how long is this going to go on for? Is it going to continue to progress the way that it has, and if so, for how long? And I feel like very much like what I said the last time we talked about it. This is a very good start to a game. I hope it keeps it up.
yeah, me too.
Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that there. I didn't play a whole lot more. Well, I won't say that. I'll say I didn't get a whole lot farther than I did with the demo, basically because I did play all that stuff that they added in there. But I haven't made it a whole lot longer, so we're going to reserve judgment and once again, come back to this one at a later date. Because there obviously is a lot more to play here, and then even a lot more to come now that still hasn't been added into the game yet. So
Now, did they say this was like half of the game, or they didn't really say? They just said there's more to come.
Right. That they didn't say for sure exactly how long it was going to be, but that was kind of the vibe I got was that by the time we finish what we've got here, it's going to be right around half of the game.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the demo section and get us into our topic, which is a continuation of what we've been doing here, or what we started last week, I guess I should say, and that is mods and emulators. We've decided to focus on some of these other things that aren't official VR games. There are, of course, emulators that allow you to play like retro games and things in VR, which is what we covered last week. We covered an emulator, the 3D SEN emulator. And Roots, interesting thing about that emulator is just this past week, since our episode, they've released a flat version of the 3D SEN emulator. So now people can play 3D versions of those games, but on a flat panel.
Oh, how cool. That's one of those things that other program I was talking to you about does. You can do it flat as well. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And the really cool thing about it is that this developer now is getting a whole lot more play recognition, because the flat, retro game channels on YouTube have a lot more followers than like the VR channels do. So now people are learning about this emulator, and if they have a VR headset, they're going to find out about that too.
Yeah, well, that's where the future is, at least for the short term in VR, at least for the VR growth, is the dual flat and VR. It's just the way that we're going to get the funding and get the audience is doing both, and then dragging people in.
Yeah, Recycled said Cosmic played it. Yeah, one of the guys I watch that plays Mario all the time. What's his name? Ryukar. He's a Mario streamer, and that he's the best Mario player I've ever seen, Roots. But yeah, he's done 2 videos on it already, and the second one was him playing Super Mario Brothers completely in reverse. So he turned the thing all the way around so that it was backwards, and you have to press right on the controller to move left on the screen, and he made it pretty deep into the game doing that. I mean, this guy's like a prodigy with Mario.
That's pretty cool. It's a unique way to do it, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, so this week we're not doing emulators. This week we're doing mods, and after much thought, I thought, so many times people have told me to do the Alien Isolation VR mod. I probably should listen to my community, right? I mean, there was a few that come up, and it's always the same few, right? It's GTA, it's Alien Isolation, it's Doom 3 BFG, right? Those are the ones. We actually had another Doom mod suggested to us on the Discord this week too. Was it the Brutal Doom? Is that which one it was?
Yeah, that's what somebody said. Brutal Doom. It's supposed to be really crazy.
So yeah, I've never played Brutal Doom, so I imagine that it is probably pretty nuts. But we decided to go with Alien Isolation because, again, this one's something that's been requested a ton of times over the entire history of this channel. So I kind of felt like it was a fitting way to start the segment off. Was be by playing the Alien Isolation mod. And Roots, I gotta say, I wasn't quite prepared for it. This is my first flat game modded for VR that I've actually put any kind of time into. And generally, when we play a VR game in preparation for the Monday show, I can play it in one day. I can play, 2 or 3 hours of it, and I have a pretty good idea of what the game's going to be. Flat games aren't like that, Roots. Flat games are long and drawn out. So yesterday, when it came time to do the Monday show, I'd had about 2.5 hours into the game, but I felt like I was still just at the very beginning of it. So that's kind of the reason why we didn't have the Monday show yesterday. And now after playing it some more, I pretty much doubled up my time in the game. I played nearly 5 hours now. I still don't feel like I've made it all that far, but I can say that I really have enjoyed my time in the game so far.
Okay, so first off, my thing is this is the perfect game to start with because it's the easiest mod to mod. You just literally take the file and drag it into the folder where it tells you, and then it's done. And I could not. I going back into it yesterday, it reminded me how amazing, and just how ever. I mean, you tell me what game can't be put into VR when somebody can make a mod this good that does it so well. Now, somebody, I guess I think it's Rinlo or somebody complains about scale. I didn't notice any scale, but I don't have enough experience in saying, "Oh man, this scale's off" or whatever. But it felt fine to me. Did you notice the scale being off?
Uh, it did. I mean, maybe just a touch small, but I mean, it felt pretty good. Really, the only thing that bothered me about the VR mod was when you access those terminals, those little computer things that you have to read. Whenever you click on it to read it, that thing comes right up to your face. I
Mm.
mean, so you literally have to, back off from it to get at a comfortable reading distance, at least for me. And then beyond that, like you have the screen that you're reading there, and then you also have text in your view from the game, right? Telling you what the controls are. But those are set at different distances. So when you're reading the screen, you have to focus here, but to read the on-screen instructions, you have to focus back here. So there was a little bit of disconnect there. Um, Caused me some eye strain, especially when I first started playing it. But after I got used to that, I really didn't have any problem with the game at all. It felt pretty close to a native VR game.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I feel like a sucker as I'm watching this gameplay because I did not search anything. I didn't find any of these things in these compartments. This person's finding all sorts of stuff. Clearly, I missed it all. But now, so far, what do you think of the story? Because, I know that I was surprised at where went some of it went early on, especially once the alien first made its first entry into the scene. What did you think?
Yeah, man, I'm really enjoying the story. I think that this is a really high quality game. This when it came out, and yeah, I know it was like 5 years ago. This game came out. When it came out, it was Game of the Year. Like it won all sorts of awards. This is a high quality AAA game, and I think it's awesome that we get to play it in VR. Again, though, the pacing of it just seems so slow to me. I can tell that the game's going to be very good. I did find all this stuff, by the way.
Mm.
All these things that they're looking for, it's everywhere. You constantly gather this stuff to craft items with, but here I am 5 hours into the game, and the only thing that I've found a schematic to craft is a medical kit. So like literally my inventory's filling up from all of these crafting items I'm finding, and I can't craft anything with it. Like, so that's a bit frustrating. You were talking about Rinlo having a bunch of locked doors. Dude, Alien Isolation has all kinds of doors that you either need a plasma torch to get into, or an ion torch to get into, or some kind of a lock tuner to get into. And again, I'm this far into the game and I haven't found any of this stuff. So, like, I assume at some point I'm going to be able to back backtrack a bit and go back and burn my way into these rooms. But for a scavenger like me, someone who likes to explore everything, it's starting to get kind of difficult to keep up with all of the different places I have to go back to now.
How funny is it that you found all that stuff and I didn't find anything? I guess I just wasn't searching. I was just going around. I was trying to get through, because I restarted the game a while back, or maybe I did it yesterday when I went to play it. And I was thinking, man, I should have not done that because I didn't remember how far back it was. But I had to go through all that beginning stuff again, just to get to the point where the alien even shows up. But now I didn't. Some of the AI, if I remember correctly, wasn't the smartest as far as the enemies. When you came across the group of people and you're trying to sneak around and stuff, I don't know if you encountered that or not. But of course, that's been a while since I got to that point. So
Yeah, it was a little weird. It's actually been quite difficult, but that's probably my fault because I'm playing on hard. Uh, but those guys can see you, from across the room, and they don't miss, man. If they see you, you're dead.
Yeah.
So, but what you're saying about the AI is absolutely true because like they forget about you quickly if you can get out of sight. So like basically half the time I stealthed it to get around them, but half the time I found it easier to just run, like just run for it. They'll see me, so what? I'll just run to where I need to go and then hide, and that seems to work just as much as being stealthy does.
Okay, cool. So does this seem like a game you're going to continue to play through, that you want to see the end of this now, or is it
Yeah, man, I want to get into it. Like I said, I've got a full inventory of stuff to craft with, and I still can't craft. I'm starting to find, pistol ammunition now, and I still don't have a gun. So, like, uh, I really enjoy how big the map is. This is kind of huge. There's these transports that take you to all these different wings of the facility to explore, and you don't have to go where you're supposed to. Like, uh, it'll tell you to go this place and do this thing, but now you really don't have to. It's not that linear. You can say, well, all right, we'll go there later. I want to go over here and explore this part. And I've literally went to two or three other branches of this space station and begun exploring that has nothing to do with the story path that I'm on. So I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, this thing just oozes AAA game. So yeah, I think that I'm going to definitely keep going back to it. Uh, I just it's definitely going to take some adjustment for me because it's been so long since I've played a flat game like this. It feels like it's taking forever to progress through it.
I bet. Now, does it seem different than like Resident Evil? As far I know, a lot of people complain about using the controller and not having hand presence. Does that bother you at all? Probably not, because you got so much experience in there.
Not so much. It's a little weird sometimes interacting with objects because it doesn't. There's hand animations for all of it, which are good animations, but it doesn't always bring them directly in front of your face. It's generally off to the side. So, like if you're climbing a ladder, you'll have to turn a little bit to line up with the ladder, or if you're trying to open a lock or something, you'll have to turn a little bit to get there. But in other ways, the VR implementation is even better because, like, say when you're using one of those jack things to break open a lock, you have to grip it literally with both hands on the controllers and then rotate the left stick all the way around to turn it. So stuff like that's actually a little bit more immersive than a game like Resident Evil 7. So really, it depends on what you're doing. Uh, some things I would say yes, more immersive. Other things I would say are immersion breaking. I wish there was a little bit more instruction with things like I found these boxes, these power boxes that you could hack into and divert energy, and I can tell that I'm supposed to be using that to distract these people in some ways, but uh, there's only certain instances where it has worked. There's been other ones that I really haven't figured out what I'm supposed to be doing. So maybe I'm just not far along enough to know yet, but I feel like that could have been explained a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about when you're running around that. There's those areas. I thought it was pretty cool as I was like running around trying to hide from those people and take them out or whatever you have to do. Just some of the things that were just looking around the space station and trying to imagine, what things were like before everything hit the fan. So people lived
Yeah,
here, they
man.
did their thing, and then all of a sudden everything's going chaos. People are killing, like everybody's on ship is so paranoid, man. The people that are you talk to, people, you can tell the people are not, this isn't even the bad guys, it's not normal for them, because they're like, some of them are like talking about not wanting to shoot, and like it's a bizarre scenario, and you put yourself in the position of these people, and there's this alien thing picking people off one by one, and you just want to get the hell out of there. It's definitely a creepy game.
Yeah, and that alien's intimidating, isn't it? Did it get you at all? I let it get me once.
I don't think it did. It's been a while since I saw it. Like when it first makes its appearance on the scene and takes that dude out. That was pretty creepy. And it,
Yeah, it snuck up on me. Like right after it takes that dude out was when I let it get me. Like after that happens, you're supposed to run and get on this transport.
hmm,
I ran onto the transport, but I didn't run all the way back in it and like activate it to close the door. So I was just standing there with the open door, and I had my back to the open door, and I turned around and boom, there it was,
yeah.
right in my face, dead like that.
And did it scare you the hell out of you for a second?
Yeah, a
Jump scare?
little bit. I
Yeah,
got to admit it. It got me a little bit.
that's good.
Um, but that was the only time that I saw that alien. Besides that cinema scene that you were talking about, and that one time that it got me, I haven't seen the alien. I've heard it. I've heard it a few times. This game has really good sound effects, directional audio like a VR game, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, what did you put it on novice? I'm just
What
kidding.
the difficulty?
That's the easiest level. It's like, I could
Well,
see you not doing novice.
no, I put it on hard, but I'm kind of regretting it because it is kind of hard to get around these people.
Hmm.
But that's what it recommended. Like I was going to do normal, but the description of normal was like, yeah, you could kind of play it like this. So I said, oh, really? So what about hard then? And I flipped it over to hard, and they said this is the recommended difficulty level. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, if this is what you recommend, then this should be normal. But whatever, we'll go ahead and play it. Um,
My
so yeah,
thought,
I put it on hard, and it's been hard.
well,
But
my thought was that I'm never gonna finish this game on anything but novice, so I put it on the easiest level. And I mean, of course, I didn't make it any further than I did before, so it's not like it made a difference. But that's what I think with a lot of these long games. I'm thinking I want to if I want to finish this game, especially a long AAA game, putting it on a very hard mode is not a good way to start for me anyway. It's a good way for me to get a good ways through and then quit. So
yeah, well, this is just going to go into my rotation. I've got friggin' 20 games now that are longer games that I'm working my way through. This is just going to go into it. I'll play it 2 hours at a time. Probably play it once a week or maybe once every other week, and eventually we'll get farther along in it and maybe even beat it.
yeah, it would be do some good videos on it.
Yeah, it's a hell of a game, and yeah, I actually was going to make a video of it, but I wanted to get to the part where I've got the alien to worry about, and so far people have been the biggest threat. So once I get into like the scary parts of the game, uh it's been more of an action sci-fi game so far. When I get into the horror, then I probably will do a video or two.
Yeah, Hussein X says you only play on hard if you want your money's worth. I think I paid like $5 or something, or some $2. Or it was really cheap on sale one time from one of these CD keys. So I feel like I got my money's worth already, but that's a good point though. So,
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I can't rank it against other mods because it's the only one I've played, but I feel like it is one of the better, or at least it seems like it has the potential to be one of the better VR games, just based on the sheer scope of it. We normally don't get stuff that's this big. I mean, there's a lot of nooks and crannies to explore in this thing, little offshoots, holes you can climb through. It's a big map. It's got a world class story going on, but it's non-linear. I mean, the story's linear, but the game isn't. You can go and go where you want and do what you want. There is a little weirdness playing a flat game that in VR. For example, there are. I got stuck as soon as I got into the space station. I got stuck because there was a vent in the floor that I had to open up and crawl through, but I never saw it. Like I never saw it because when you look at things, this game obviously isn't intended to be a VR game, so it's difficult to tell when you're looking at something that you can interact with. So literally, I went back and forth over this whole area 3 or 4 times before I realized, oh, I'm standing on the exit.
that's
Uh,
funny.
s-
That's funny, dude, because it's been a long time, but same thing happened to me, roaming back and forth, thinking, where the hell am I supposed to go? And it's a hatch that you go through and crawl through to another spot, and I must have spent 30 minutes looking back and forth until I discovered it. Almost like you did. Just noticed I was standing on it, so it's funny.
And it doesn't help that there were doors in this area that you could burn through with a torch. Again, like I mentioned, I still don't have the torch, but if you have nowhere to go and there are doors that you have to burn open with a torch, what are you going to go looking for?
A torch. Yeah.
You're going to go looking for a torch. You're not going to go looking for hatches in the ground. You're going to go looking for a torch. So yeah, man, I spent a long time looking for that stupid torch before I figured out that I don't need it.
That's
Not yet,
funny.
anyway.
That's hilarious.
But no, I thought it was a high quality game. I'm definitely enjoying it so far. I can see the potential for it to turn into a scary horror game. We're not quite there yet, but regardless if it ever gets there or not, I feel like this is going to be worth my time.
Yeah, for sure. So now do you know why? You can see why everybody was like, dude, you got to check this game out. Not only because of the mod, but just because they know it's your type of jam. And apparently it's going to get scary because they know you like scary. And I thought it was cool. I like that the AAA feel to it was my favorite part of it. Like just having quests that are dragging you along, different things to do. It just reminds you a lot of the VR games are lacking in the depth.
Yeah, I think that this is a good first look. Playing something like this would give you a good idea of where I think VR is going to be going in the next couple of years. And I think that this Star Wars game from Electronic Arts is just the first of a string of AAA VR games that we're going to start getting. I think Valve has proven that it can be profitable. I think that Facebook is investing in these different game development companies for a reason. I mean, they just bought Ready at Dawn yesterday. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, Ready at Dawn's made some pretty well-regarded plat games as well. And I think Sony's going to continue to invest in VR as a medium as well. So I think these next couple of years, we're going to see VR kind of take that AAA turn. And I feel like a game like Alien Isolation is a good example of what we can expect. Obviously, it's not perfect as a VR game, and it's a bit dated as an older game. But I feel like the scope of this game is pretty accurate and pretty well representative of what we can expect in the very near future.
Yeah, plus it's always on sale. What a great price. Usually it's I know it's well under $10 if you're buying it on sale. I could have sworn I paid $5 for it or something, but definitely worth playing it, the price of admission, especially with as much content as you get, as much as the story, the AAA, everything about it. So
yeah, and listen, if you're not technically savvy and you're worried about whether or not you can mod this game, don't. This game is simple to mod. It's literally copy and paste one file. That's it. You copy it, you paste it, you're done. And it runs great. Obviously I sold my Rift S. I played via the Oculus Quest Link. Ran perfectly. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, it runs really well. So easy startup was good. So.
Anyway, so that's going to wrap it up, I think, here. You guys be sure to let us know what you want us to do next. I guess we'll do an emulator next time we come back to this series, which it may be a few weeks before we get back to it because we have some other stuff that we need to cover. But be sure to let us know what emulator you want us to do next, what mod you want us to do next. Of course, you can do so in the comments down below, or you can scroll down to the description. And of course, you will find the invitation to our Discord. If you really want to contact us and talk to us about this or anything else, that's the best way to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't already before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, do all that. Actually, hit the notifications for all notifications which is for some reason, I don't know why they keep making it more and more difficult to get notifications from people. But if you don't click that all, Wes, you don't get all of them. So
Yeah, it's a conspiracy, Roots.
yeah,
It's a
what is it?
Conspiracy.
Yeah. Oh, 'cause speaking of conspiracies, man, like one of these days we should just start spouting stuff off and like time it. Well, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to get the channel marked. But there are things you cannot say, and anybody that disbelieves it, give it a shot, because it's crazy. We're living in crazy times.
Yeah, man. I mean, like George Carlin's words were never more true, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The censorship we all fought against. You know, censorship was a bad word when I was growing up watching MTV. They always railed against censorship, and now these very same people who once led the fight against censorship are the same people now that telling you that you can't say that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
crazy.
you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Oh, I totally want to hurt everybody's feelings, except for the people who are in our community. And how can you join our community? Of course, you all know you can do so by clicking on the subscribe button. As Roots just said, the notification bell to stay up with all of our content here on the Virtual Strangers channel.
Cool.
And with that said, friends, we would like to thank you once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you next week, friends.